Hey guys, Willie and Murfitt here, and in this episode of Rags to Riches, we're going to be changing these grubby old brake and gear cables, the outer casings, running all the lines through, and hopefully going to have it all looking nice and new. Let's get stuck in. Okay, so as you can see here, you've got the brake and gear cables that are looking a little bit worse for wear. They're looking old, tired, frail, black, dirty. You know, everything that you probably don't want to look like. So actually, what we're going to be doing today is just mixing it up, making it look all nice and new and fresh again, and hopefully add a bit of appeal to this bike. So this is the before, and this is the after. And here's how we did it. Okay, we'll start with the basic one then. We'll start with this gear cable. So first thing you want to do is actually undo the bracket that's holding that cable on, any excess cable, and just pull the old cable out. You can then adjust the gear here so you have a nice smooth takeaway, and you can just pull the cable out and it will come loose. Now what's really handy to do is to keep these old cables so you can get an idea of what length, piping and stuff you're going to need. The noodles and stuff are on its way, so I'm not going to do them just yet, but here is the old cable. I'm going to replace it with this nice shiny new stuff. Now this is the first, oh god, that's thick. Okay, this is the first time you guys would have seen this, so this is what we're replacing it with, nice blue, to hopefully bring out the colour of the blue from the frame. In this packet, this packet here, let's put it like that. Ooh. Okay, so in this pack here, it contains your brake cables, your gear cables, the covers, the end caps, the spacing caps, everything basically you need. And this was only £4.99. So in this pack here, we have all of the caps we're going to need. So the ones that are going to be for this particular cable, replace these silver caps on the ends, one on the top, one on the bottom. Have one on the gear cable here, one on the join, one down here on the join, one at the back on the join. Same for the middle gear section, and same for the rear. There are two thicknesses of cable. The thin cable is for the gearing, the thick cable is for the brake lines. And then we have two amounts of cable. The thin cable is for the gearing and the thick cable is for the brake lines. They have all the ends already. They have all the ends already on there for you, and all we do on these is just chop this bigger end off, and we can wire that brake hose all the way through. The gears are a little bit more straightforward. They've got a flat end on one end and a knob on the other. So in this occasion, we're going to be doing the gear. So one thing that caught me out doing my last bike was actually when you buy a set of wires, they're not the same length. So if I hold these ones here and go all the way down, keeping hold of that cable, one cable is particularly shorter than the other one. Now that is because one's for the front and one's for the rear. Cable-wise for the Kona, I laid all the cable down, I connected it all up, made it all nice and tight for the back, and actually found out that when I did the middle one, for the middle gearing, for the middle derailleur, it was actually, the cable was huge. So brainwave, sort the cables over, plenty wire, but a bit of a faff, so just measure the cables before you even get involved. And the best thing to do with the cable you're not currently using is just to roll it up, and then tuck the cable through a few times. So then it stays nice and secure. You can't lose it. Okay, so this cable here I need to get from here to here. And that's all I need to do. But using the old cable, I can work out exactly how long I'm going to need it. So I'm only really going to be using about half of this cable. So all this stuff here, excess, is not really needed. I'm going to chop it about here, so I don't have loads of cable left over, and then I can chop it and crimp it at a later date. So with a nice end on the there, we can hopefully slide that straight into the cable and away we go. Now, I mentioned earlier about keeping hold of the old cable because it's really good now, because all I need to do is actually measure out how long the old one is compared to the new one, and all I need to do then is chop it at that length, which is there. I can chop it and then I've got the exact length required for the new cable. So we'll get the cable and we'll run that cable in through until it comes out the other end. There you go. I can then put this back through there, give it a bit of a twist. And that's my cable done. Now when the noodles arrive, that can then be slotted into the noodle. Okay, so until the new noodle turns up, I'm going to use this old rusty one, just to get the cables just cleaned up out of the way. Okay, so that front cable then is in, it's in place, it's all lined up, and if I just lift up the wheel, give it a spin, pull the brake, we have a working brake lever. One down, 3 to go. So with this side here done, it's time to move on to here. Now, there is unfortunately a piece missing. But this is where it comes in real handy to have some spares from other bikes. So I'm going to put this one here in. That's a slightly different style from this to this. But what I'll do is I will change this side here as well so that they both are the same. Right, this is all going to be trial and error from here on. So we place the cable inside. Let's go the outside this time because we're going to come back through along here. To about there. I think that's going to be enough. We'll cut that around there. So just trying to measure out from this point all the way down to the end of the frame where I want to bolt it to. Okay, so I've got my length of cable, I've cut to size, I've cut the end off of the brake cable. I'm just going to line this alignment here. I'm going to attach it to the brake lever. So it's going to go through here. And I'm going to mount it under here. Place it through. Run it through that gap, that's now mounted. I can twist there to secure the cable in place. I'll run the cable through the cover I've just cut and made to size. I can mount into there. And I want to go this side that we decided earlier, round here to the back of this mount here. And that is the front section of the rear brakes done. Okay, so I've mounted the cable here and I'm running the cable underneath the frame. Now what I need to do is make some more cable from this little lug here round to where will be another noodle just at the back here for this rear brake. I'm pretty sure I have a spare noodle somewhere. Just going to try and work out where it's going to be. Okay, so I've got a noodle that, here's one I made earlier. And I'm going to run this obviously into the back. So it's only going to be quite a short cable, maybe 6 inches or so, to go from here to where the noodle is going to mount. So put that in place now, and I've got loads of this left over them. So to there. So what we'll do is we'll run the cable through and out the other end. And get it into position. I'll run the cable through my noodle. Do quite like that word noodle. Okay, and before the battery runs out, just to see, I've got now a working rear brake. So I'm going to change the batteries and I'll be back to sort